In today's episode of HR Visionaries, we're going to speak to Shanti from SRI. We're going to talk about how to hire for a non-profit organization. Stay tuned. Welcome to HR Visionaries, where we unlock the secrets of modern HR. I'm Benjamin, your host. Join us as we shed light on today's HR universe with HR leaders and innovators from across the globe. Whether you're an HR pro, a business leader, or just curious about the future of work, this is your shortcut to the forefront of HR innovation. Brought to you by Hire, the AI talent attraction platform. Welcome to our latest episode of HR Visionaries. I'm looking forward to my guest today, Shanti. Thanks a lot for taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Shanti, could you tell us in 5 or 6 sentences, who are you?
My name is Shanti Krishnan, and I work for a renowned research institute called SRI International, which is based out of Menlo Park, California. And I lead the HR technology and operations team at SRI. So I'm one of the decision makers and leaders in the HR team.
Can you tell us a bit more about SRI? So it sounds very sophisticated what you guys do.
Absolutely. SRI is a renowned nonprofit research institute, and its headquarters, as I said, in Menlo Park, California. And we have offices throughout the US and in Japan. And SRI works with governments, universities, startups, big techs, and VCs to create technologies and bring them to the market. So basically, from lab to the society, end-to-end product development.
It sounds pretty interesting, given obviously in California you do have many tech companies, many very world-renowned universities. So it's probably an interesting ecosystem.
Absolutely, yeah. We partner with, as I said, academia and with government projects. So we have presence in Menlo Park. We also have a big presence in Princeton and in Washington D.C. So covering the various areas of research and development.
Shanti, you mentioned you are an HR leader at a nonprofit organization. How can I picture your role in a nonprofit organization compared to a for-profit organization?
Some of the differences with a profit to a nonprofit organization in the HR world is basically planning and budgeting our resource and our targeting our businesses around the research projects that we have, and basically providing HR support and for the operational support for the various organizations to be successful. Even though we are a nonprofit organization, we do have to have a certain amount of profitability to be successful and attract the world-class leaders as we do, researchers as we do. So we provide an operational environment for our various departments, divisions, and organizations to be successful in doing what they do best. So that's our main focus in HR.
I think it's incredibly interesting, given, as you mentioned, you're based in California, you're based in Princeton. So you are where all the big tech companies are, that then obviously also are partners, but at the same time you also compete for the same talents.
Yes. So there are some unique features about SRI that kind of brings talent to us. We obviously have close ties with academia and research, and as well as a government project. And we have the unique capability of basically translating our lab research into real world applications and provide a partnership. We provide the thought leaders and the brain power for a lot of the research and development organizations within the university and in the industry sectors. So our researchers often see their accomplishments out of the lab and into the world through commercial development. commercialization. So an example for that would be a Siri technology, which was developed at SRI. And it spun out as a startup and was eventually bought out by Apple. And today, everybody knows what Siri is. So that's a pretty good example of who we are as an organization. And that, our mission drives, we are pretty influential in the industry. So we do compete for talent, but we also win out because of the environment that fosters research and development.
Well, it's I think super interesting that we can talk today, given I think for most outsiders, this world of research institutes that collaborate with the economy, collaborate with universities. It's kind of an it's kind of an unknown world to me. I must admit, given you for sure know that there are universities, there are companies, but the in-between is kind of an unknown area to me. So therefore, I'm really excited we can talk today, given it's probably also important in your daily work to convince the greatest minds to join you as an organization and not to join a free enterprise or to join, university.
Yeah, so, we are in a unique space where we prioritize social impact over profit, fostering, mission-driven approach to research. So our researchers are committed to making a difference in the world. So it basically, our organization fosters commitments to innovation and collaboration and addressing global challenges, which makes it unique and distinctive in the market. And we have trendsetters as part of our organization, and so they all have a common passion to create novel technology and services that solve big world problems. For example, we have researchers working on climate change, on AI and trust and safety, on quantum technologies and more, as well as in innovations in education, research, and technology. So we have a wide range of people focused on different areas of expertise. Those are our various divisions, and we support that they are able to function to the best of their abilities and find the best resource for the various divisions. We also are very unique in the sense that we have people spending their entire career lifespan at our organization. We have people straight out of college join us and build 30, 40, 50-year tenure at SRI. And so there's something unique about the organization that makes them want to stay and continue to, progress and, feel that they are accomplishing things, especially in a dynamic market space like where we are in the high-tech industry area, and and in Princeton, it's like the research area. So that's pretty unique about our organization. It does get challenging, but we also win out with the best of the folks that we retain.
Well, you mentioned several times it's about purpose, it's about impact. How important is that when you communicate to talents, that it's very much about purpose, it's about impact, about social impact, about climate change impact at SRI?
So, it is, we direct our talent, our future talent. We do, our talent acquisition team does recruiting events at various colleges and universities. And we also have a lot of clout by the word of mouth, because we are pretty well known in the area that we are in. So We get people reach out to us wanting to work for SRI, and we are very lucky in that way that we are able to get that kind of initial commitment, wanting to work and wanting to be part of SRI, that we are able to pick and choose from. But some of the things that we tell is explain how SRI stands out from other research institute due to being a nonprofit organization, and we prioritize societal impact over profit. And we also encourage collaboration across diverse fields, and which eventually leads to innovative solutions and in addressing complex problems from multiple angles. And we also have a commitment, strong commitment of translating lab research into real-world applications, which ensures that the discoveries become tangible benefits for society and make an impact in our economy. And those are some of the impactful statements that attract the right resource to our organization.
Super fascinating what you guys do. Can you tell us a bit more about your own career? So your life prior to SRI.
So my career is a little bit twisted along the way. My background is in education. I kind of started in kindergarten and stopped going to school when I completed my PhD in education. So I kind of went straight through from grade to grade and up and onwards. I've always wanted to be in a teaching which I now translate into a mentorship role. I did teach for a few years in high schools and community colleges while I was starting my career, and then took a brief break for family, to grow my family. And when I returned back from my brief family break, and was looking for a part-time position, I just was deciding whether to go back to teaching or change my career. And just because I had the opportunity, I signed up for a 2-month crash course in programming and realized that I had a pretty good aptitude and instinct for coding and programming. So, and that was a career that would allow for part-time and kind of like gig-like jobs. So I thought that could be something I could do until I'm ready to get back into a serious professional lifestyle. Little did I know that became my professional lifestyle shortly. I did not take a part-time job. I ended up being a full-time resource, supporting basically supporting a company, HR implementation, technology implementation project, which I did not know anything about, but I had a wonderful mentor who was the project manager, and he basically said, do everything that I say, and then it'll all go fine. I'll give you step-by-step instructions. As long as you can be consistent in pressing keystrokes, you'll be fine. So it was literally something like that got me into HR area, but I got curious and learned to read code and understand code. And eventually I kind of got myself in a comfortable state of knowledge where I felt comfortable being in taking on work in the area. And I was able to join a consulting firm, be their main HR technology analyst consultant, working with, of course, the leaders, because I was at a more in a junior mid-level position, and grew in that role for about 7-8 years before I had the opportunity prior to SRI working for in a fintech organization, First Republic Bank. And they had recently divested from Bank of America and were looking to grow their own operational team. And they were looking to establish a technology operations team in the IT, supporting their business operations, which were in, IT platform support. So I became part of the IT, but more and more, I guess, because of how that organization was in its growth phase. I had a pretty good a close partnership and interaction working with the various businesses, supporting HR, finance, pretty much the projects, all of the ERP. I was managing with a small team supporting me, the ERP suite of application. And I got more interested in wanting to learn from the business side, how the business uses the application as opposed to technology driving the business. So I did have the opportunity to then be part of the transition internally into the finance accounting team and establish their operational function. And as part of that, one of the features of the operation function was payroll, and through payroll, they were going through an implementation of a different platform, which I led that part, and eventually became the owner of the platform of HR and payroll systems. And that led me to becoming part of HR, all within the same organization. I moved from IT to finance to HR, into a leadership role, pretty much in HR, establishing HR HR operations team, which did not exist prior to me joining. Because that was a growing organization also, so they were growing and establishing more specialized teams. As I grew, I worked more with the businesses. I realized I went into the business units understanding what the technology can do. But I realized there was always a disconnect between the business organization and the IT team. The biggest disconnect being business felt like we have to take directions from IT and adjust our processes to match what IT offers as a solution. To me, that was never an acceptable option. I was always like, we are here to serve. IT is a support operations team. Mm-hmm. Yes, we manage the platform, but we don't dictate how you do your business HR, how you do your perform your business functions, finance. You tell us what you want to do and we'll make it happen for you through the technology. And that's been my approach. And so I believe in technology working for the business as opposed to business working with the technology. And so to this day, I follow that, and I kind of after a while, I needed a change for different reasons, and decided to maybe take a break or be a consultant, independent consultant for a while. And that's how I started at SRI as an independent consultant. I guess managing their project of outsourcing their benefits platform to a third-party vendor. At the end of that project, opportunity came for a full-time position. And by then I had been here, learned the team, learned the people, learned about the organization, and I changed my mind from being an independent consultant to becoming an employee of SRI. I'm committed to this organization and to this team. They are very supportive. We are a small team because we have to wear different hats, but I like the space that I'm in this organization. I like being in a position of providing oversight for the technology needs for the HR team and where it fits in the organizational structure, working with my partners in IT, the leaders in IT and the technology area in the organization, as well as working with the HR divisions and our HR leaders I always say I touch all parts of HR except the employee relations piece. That is not my area of expertise at all, and I don't want to grow there. That's not my interest. But I consider myself as being an advocate for the organization as such, the big picture, looking at what's right for the organization, what's the right solution for the organization. It differs from organization to organization. It's entirely a flip. For me, was a big growth coming from a for-profit fintech organization to a nonprofit organization. The whole budget structure and funding structure, everything is very, very different. So I'm still learning. I'm 5 years counting and still learning the ins and outs of how to be successful. But I think I'm getting better each day. So that's kind of where I've grown into this. It's pretty unique. There's a lot of people look at my resume and say, okay, so you have a degree in education. Why are you in HR? I consider that as, well, I had the opportunity in a path, and I had a vision as a youngster in my, that what I wanted to do is a direction that I wanted to take. And along the way, I've changed my perception, but what I've learned is what I've learned. And I still believe, as a senior member of the team, I believe in, I pay a lot of importance to mentorship and growing future generations, and kind of, so from that perspective, the teacher in me comes out every so often. And, organization skills, you learn skills and, and I guess tricks of the trade in different, along the way as you mature. And I haven't lost anything. I still, a part of me, my undergraduation was in chemistry, and my PhD was in science education. So I do have a little bit of a science and technology in my head. So I geek out a little bit when I read about SRI researchers, scientific research papers and publications and things like that. And I associate a little bit mentally, not in any way research-wise, but I can understand to the next level some of the terminologies and things, because it comes back to me from my prior life, as with the in my chemistry and other education terminologies.
That's indeed an incredible journey. So to be honest, I had to write down some stuff, because perhaps it would be hard to follow afterwards. It's super interesting, and well, as you said, so well, your starting point as a teacher, and now being a mentor, being a coach to your team members, that is probably quite useful to have this background in how to educate, rather than just how to tell people what to do.
Definitely, it's a communication. So I consider education as taking people from point A and guiding them to point B. So you have a starting point. Giving directions is, you assume everybody else is in the same phase to start, and then you want all of them to move to the next phase all together, like a batch. I kind of tailor my communication and tailor my expectations to the individual folks, to where they are, and to me, that is the biggest part of mentorship, to understanding the baseline, setting a baseline and coming to an understanding, and having constant communication with your mentees and understanding where they want to take their career. It's not us guiding them blindly to where I want them to go. It is where they want to take their career, and how to help them achieve what they want to do. And there are sometimes when it might even mean that it might not happen in this organization. I've had those, not in my current role, but in my prior role, I've come up on situations where, hey, their expectations not going to be met in this organization. So let me help you come up with where you can meet what you need, or is that even the right expectation, or can sometimes come up with the right expectation, especially young folks who are coming straight out of college, who sometimes have unrealistic expectations or have expectations that are not theirs. It's kind of inherited from wherever their experience of growing up in, like their school, their friends, their families, the people that surround them, whatever, so everybody has untapped potential. So my goal is to set everyone to be successful in what they do. And when everyone's successful in where they are and what they do, the team will be successful, the organization will be successful, and everyone will have a certain amount of sense of satisfaction. And when you have a satisfaction, you want to perform at a higher level. And when you perform at a higher level, your productivity is better. They're all interdependent and intertwined. So I do believe understanding that, just because I have a degree in education, I don't treat my folks as kids. They are adults.
It's very, very good to know indeed. Shanti, I think what you mentioned about, well, learning to code, starting your HR career very much in the HR in the HR tech world. How does that influence your decisions today, and how important is technology in the HR space for you?
So I think the HR space technology is very important, and because it eliminates, if you have the right technology and right correctly configured or appropriately configured technology, it could eliminate a lot of noise and reduce a lot of unnecessary manual repetitive work. So the funny part about technology that supports an operation as opposed to technology that supports manufacturing is, in the operations, at the end of the day, when you're not an important part of discussion, then you've done your job well. Like, for example, if nobody is talking about, oh, this went wrong, or this was difficult to do, this step of processing was difficult to do, or this messed up and I had to go and clean up in the platform, those things are not productive at the operational level. You want operations to function smoothly. So the least people talk about is about the technology that they're working with, or they're quote unquote struggling with. That's the best place to be in. Whereas in the manufacturing or in the productivity area, not in the operations area, technology actually leads, right? I mean, you want to implement technology to get new things done. Whereas in the operations, you want to implement technology to make things easier of what you have to do, like the compliant work and the things that you have to do in the HR area. So it's really hard to quantify and say, okay, these are the improvements. Constantly, I challenge my team. Let's make continuous improvement, continuous optimization, and data has to be reliable. It has to be clean. But those are all expectations. So when we accomplish those, they are not celebrated as wins, right? They are like, oh yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. You're keeping a clean HR data. That's what you're expected to do. But it's not an easy thing to accomplish across the board and have a consistency. So, and the technology actually helps with that consistency, takes away the people error, and we are able to configure, build rules in the technology. And if you have the right technology for your organization and the right people managing the technology, then the error is limited. It's not ever eliminated, but we are also, it is limited to the best that we can. And we are able to focus more on, making like our HR business partners and our benefits business partners focus on their HR and benefits business areas as opposed to battling with, oh, the data is wrong, so I have to go in and do something in the data, correct it, spending a good part of their time. So that I think from that perspective, technology is important and relevant because it provides a consistency across the board. And in this new world of DEI and in the new world of AI, AI is a beast by itself, but in the DEI, at least we are able to kind of measure certain metrics and take away our people's prejudices to a certain extent, limit, we can't always eliminate it, but definitely limit it or highlight when one exists, and put in corrective measures or compensatory measures. And those are all possible if the technology is available and if it's used appropriately and by the appropriate folks and with the action plan for design for things like that to be elevated and brought into focus. AI, we're still learning how it's going to impact. It's already impacting in different ways. How we do our day-to-day job in HR. It's pretty impactful in, I guess, in the recruiting world, because it makes the actual interviewing process a little bit more challenging, because you do not know up until you actually meet face-to-face or Zoom to Zoom in the person if you are hearing from that person or not. It's pretty scary. You can go into ChatGPT and put in any question, and spits out a response for you. That's wonderful. It's not wrong, but it's not but it doesn't give an in-depth understanding of the person that's spitting out that information. Their does it give a good evaluation of where they are content knowledge wise? It's a little challenging. I'm pretty sure I've heard in the education field where it's challenging for teachers to evaluate students' project work and things like that. So it is getting, we have to get a little bit smarter and stay on top of the technology to make sure that the technology does not take us down a path that is that at the end of the day causes more harm than good for the human race. So it's a constant evaluation.
And indeed, and what you said about how to measure the impact of technology in the HR sphere is, I think, super interesting. Given as I said, so in manufacturing, it's actually pretty obvious. So, or not pretty obvious, but you can kind of measure, right? So if you introduce software update, let's say in a kind of a manufacturing environment, and you reduce the scrap metal or whatever by a certain amount, you can very easily measure, okay, this software improvement or this new software has provided us with savings to the amount of X. Well, in the space of HR, it's much less tangible in many ways. So what are my savings? Does the recruitment or the recruiting quality increase? So that's the causality is much harder to calculate, I guess.
It is. It gets really difficult because at the end of the day, especially an organization like ours, when we have a specific need for a resource, we want someone, let's say, with a PhD in nuclear scientists with a certain background, certain specialization, is able to come in and either bring projects and work at SRI and grow their project and establish themselves, or are able to come and fit in. So when you're looking at that kind of very specific skill sets, which is a lot for us, a lot of focus for us. So it gets a little, we have to find people that are a close fit, who's coming to kind of come in and mold themselves to SRIs and contribute to SRIs projects, or are able to come in and lead, or able to come in and start something new, innovate. I don't know. So it gets challenging. And in that, we also want to maintain metrics to make sure we have a good, across the board, good balance of folks from various socioeconomic backgrounds. And it does get challenging, but we have a really, really great talent acquisition team led by a wonderful leader who has a strong focus in bringing the best resource. If you look at our board of directors, we have a really diverse group leading our board. And it's not like many other organizations. It's pretty unique. So there is importance laid to the diversity from top down. The growth could be slower. It's going to be year over year. We can't make a switch overnight. Even if we identify an issue, it takes time to identify that if there is a problem, where the problem is, and trying to figure out a solution that we can implement for the problem. And as we are doing that, the world is changing too. So it keeps shifting, right? Our goalpost keeps shifting. So we have to be pretty agile in our presence, in trying to react appropriately, but at the same time plan out for the future. So you have to be able to predict. We have a pretty good designed dashboard of data that we provide for our various slices and dicing of data for our from our recruiting to retention to talent profiles to promotions to anything across the board, our distribution of folks, to constantly look at that as one of the factors that we focus on. It cannot be a single factor, but it is one of the important factors that we focus on when we make certain key decisions, be it promotions or hiring or retention or anything else that's related to people's career. All the while, we also have to make sure that any decisions we make has a positive impact on our overall mission, which is to make innovations that impact society at large, which is our driving mission, right? It does get complex, but we are up to the challenge.
Awesome. I think those are amazing closing remarks, Shanti. Thank you so much for telling us so much about SRI, telling us so much about the impact of technology, and obviously, being very positive when it comes to the outlook. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity, and best wishes to you.
Thanks. And all of you, thanks a lot for listening in. I'm sure you had a great time listening to what Shanti said. Thanks a lot, and see you next time.